Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, watching the massive Xenorian fleet move into position beside his human ships. The alien vessels were huge and dark, their metal hulls covered in strange symbols that glowed blue in the emptiness of space. Jake had seen these ships many times before, but today felt different. Today, they would fight together against the Vorthan Empire, humanity's greatest enemy. "Captain, we're getting signals from the Xenorian flagship," said Lieutenant Amy Foster from her station. "They're ready to begin the attack." Jake nodded and pressed the button on his command chair. "All human ships, this is Captain Morrison. Follow the battle plan exactly as we practiced. Our Xenorian allies will handle the left flank while we take the right. Remember, we're stronger together." The plan had taken months to create. Humans and Xenorians had worked side by side, sharing their best military secrets and tactics. The humans had given the aliens their most advanced shield technology, the kind that could stop enemy weapons for hours. They had also shared their formation patterns, the special ways human ships moved in battle that made them hard to hit. "Commander." Lisa Harper aboard the Hughes Valiant sent a message to Jake's ship. "All systems ready, Captain. Our supply ships are in position behind the main fleet. The Xenorians promised to protect them while we fight." Jake smiled. The Xenorians had been good allies for 2 years now. They had helped humans build better weapons and had shared some of their own technology. When the Vorthan Empire had attacked human colonies, the Xenorians had offered to help fight back. It seemed like a perfect partnership. Admiral Peter Collins, the leader of all human military forces, appeared on Jake's screen. The old man looked tired but determined. "Captain Morrison, are you ready for this? Intelligence says the Vorthans have their entire fleet waiting for us." "We're ready, sir," Jake replied. "With the Xenorians fighting beside us, we can beat anything the Vorthans throw at us." The target was a Vorthan military base built on a large asteroid. The base controlled 3 star systems and had been used to launch attacks on human worlds. If they could destroy it, the Vorthans would lose their ability to threaten human space for years. "Beginning the attack now," Jake announced to his crew. "All weapons ready, shields at full power." The human ships moved forward in perfect formation. The Xenorian fleet moved with them, their massive guns pointed at the Vorthan base. For a moment, everything seemed to go according to plan. The Vorthans fired their weapons, but the combined human and Xenorian shields held strong. Then something went wrong. Jake watched in confusion as the Xenorian ships suddenly changed direction. Instead of attacking the Vorthan base, they turned their weapons toward the human fleet. Bright energy beams shot out from the alien ships, hitting human vessels with deadly accuracy. "What's happening?" shouted Lieutenant Foster. "The Xenorians are firing on us." Jake couldn't believe what he was seeing. The UES Courage, one of his best ships, exploded as 3 Xenorian energy beams hit it at the same time. The ship broke apart in a ball of fire, and Jake knew that all 300 crew members were dead. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Jake yelled into his communicator. "The Xenorians have betrayed us." "I repeat, the Xenorians are attacking our fleet." But it was too late. The aliens had planned this perfectly. They used the same formation patterns that humans had shared with them, but turned them against the human ships. They knew exactly where each human vessel would be, and how to hit them where their shields were weakest. Commander Harper's voice came through the radio, filled with panic. "Captain Morrison, they're targeting our supply ships. They're using our own shield frequencies against us." Jake watched in horror as Xenorian ships destroyed the human supply vessels one by one. These ships carried food, weapons, and medical supplies for the entire human fleet. Without them, the surviving human ships would be stranded in enemy space with no way to get home. The betrayal was complete and brutal. The Xenorians had studied human military tactics for months, pretending to be allies while learning every weakness. They knew how human ships moved, how their shields worked, and where their weapons were positioned. Now they used this knowledge to destroy their former friends. "Captain, we're losing power," called out Chief Engineer Tony Grant. "They hit our main power core with some kind of weapon we've never seen before." Jake realized the terrible truth. The Xenorians hadn't just planned to betray humans in battle. They had been preparing for this moment for a long time, building special weapons designed to destroy human ships. All their offers of friendship and cooperation had been lies. Admiral Collins appeared on the screen again, but this time his ship was burning. "All human vessels, retreat immediately. This is a trap. The Xenorians and Vorthons are working together." Jake's heart sank as he understood the full scope of the betrayal. The Xenorians hadn't just turned against humans during the battle. They had been working with the Vorthons all along. The entire war had been a setup to destroy the human fleet and steal their technology. "Sir, we need to get out of here," Lieutenant Foster said. "Our shields are failing." Jake looked at his tactical display. Of the 50 human ships that had entered the battle, only 15 were still fighting. The rest had been destroyed or were drifting in space, their crews dead or dying. The Xenorians had achieved in 1 hour what the Vorthons had been trying to do for years. "Begin emergency jump sequence," Jake ordered. "We need to warn Earth about what happened here." As the used Defiant prepared to escape, Jake watched the Xenorian and Vorthon fleets work together to destroy the remaining human ships, the aliens. Moved with perfect coordination, like they had been practicing this attack for months. They probably had been. The jump to hyperspace saved Jake's life, but it couldn't save his faith in alien allies. As his ship raced back toward human space, he thought about all the technology and secrets that humans had shared with the Xenorians. The aliens now had human shield technology, human weapons designs, and human tactical knowledge. They could use all of this against human colonies. Commander Harper's ship, the used Valiant, jumped to hyperspace beside the Defiant. Her voice came through the radio, filled with anger and sadness. "Captain Morrison, they took everything. Our supply ships, our technology, our trust. How could we have been so stupid?" Jake didn't have an answer. He had believed in the Alliance just as much as everyone else. The Xenorians had seemed like genuine friends, offering help when humans needed it most. But it had all been a lie designed to steal human technology and destroy human military power. As they traveled back to Earth, Jake received reports from other human commanders who had survived the attack. The news was all bad. The Xenorians had not only betrayed the human fleet, but had also attacked human colonies while the military was away. 3 human worlds had been captured, and thousands of civilians were now prisoners of their former allies. Admiral Collins, whose ship had barely survived the battle, sent a message to all human forces. "The Xenorians have declared that humans are too weak to be trusted in battle. They're telling the galaxy that we ran away from the fight and left them to face the Vorthons alone. They're stealing our colonies and claiming them as rewards for their victory." Jake clenched his fists. The betrayal was even worse than he had thought. The Xenorians weren't just stealing human technology and territory. They were destroying humanity's reputation in the galaxy, making it impossible for humans to find new allies or get help from other species. When the surviving human ships finally reached the hidden Luna base near Earth, Jake felt like he was carrying the weight of the entire human race on his shoulders. The Xenorians had not just won a battle. They had stolen humanity's future and left them alone in a dangerous galaxy. 6 months had passed since the Great Betrayal, and Lieutenant Colonel Sam Rodriguez crouched behind a broken wall on the human colony world of New Denver. The Xenorian occupation forces had turned what used to be a peaceful farming community into a military prison. Sam watched through his binoculars as alien soldiers forced human workers to load trucks with food and medical supplies that would be sent to Xenorian worlds. "They're stealing everything," whispered engineer Maya Patterson, who was hiding beside Sam. "The grain silos, the medical factories, even the water purification systems. They're taking it all back to their home planets." Sam nodded grimly. He had been leading secret missions into Xenorian-occupied territory for 3 months now, and every mission revealed more theft and cruelty. The aliens weren't just taking human territory. They were systematically stealing everything humans had built and claiming it as their own property. Communications specialist Tony Grant adjusted his hidden radio equipment and spoke quietly. Captain Morrison's team just sent a message from the Kepler system. The Xenorians are doing the same thing there. They're dismantling entire human research facilities and shipping them back to Xenorian space. The resistance movement had grown slowly but steadily since the betrayal. Admiral Collins, working from the secret Luna base, had authorized dozens of intelligence teams to slip into occupied human worlds. Their mission was simple: find out what the Xenorians were really doing and gather evidence of their crimes. What they discovered was worse than anyone had imagined. The Xenorians weren't just occupying human colonies. They were stealing human technology, human scientific research, and even human culture. They were erasing humanity's presence from these worlds and replacing it with their own. Dr. Karen White, who had been the head scientist at the new Geneva Research Institute before the betrayal, had managed to escape when the Xenorians attacked. Now she worked with the Resistance, using her knowledge of human technology to understand what the aliens were stealing. "Look at this," Dr. White said, showing Sam a tablet computer filled with stolen Xenorian data. They've been intercepting our research communications for years. Every breakthrough we made, every new discovery, they copied it and claimed they invented it themselves. Sam studied the information on the screen. The evidence was overwhelming. The Xenorians had been stealing human medical research and using it to improve their own health care while denying these same treatments to human prisoners. They had taken human energy technology and used it to power their war machines. They had even stolen human art and music, claiming that Xenorian artists had created these works. "They've been lying to the entire galaxy," Maya said angrily. "All those amazing Xenorian innovations that other alien species admire? Most of them are human inventions that they stole from us." The resistance teams had also discovered something else disturbing. The Xenorians had been manipulating galactic trade routes to hurt human colonies even before the betrayal. They had convinced other alien species to buy fewer products from human worlds and more from Xenorian worlds. They had spread lies about human quality and reliability, making it harder for humans to sell their goods across the galaxy. Tony Grant had been monitoring Xenorian communications for weeks, and his discoveries were shocking. "They have recordings of their leaders laughing about how stupid humans are," he reported. "They call us naive children who deserve to be conquered because we trusted them." Captain Morrison arrived at the Resistance base on New Denver 3 days later, his face grim with new intelligence. He had been running dangerous missions deep into Xenorian space, gathering information that could help humanity fight back. "It's worse than we thought," Morrison told the assembled Resistance fighters. "The Xenorians have been doing this to other species, too. We found evidence that they betrayed the Korathian Empire 5 years ago, and the Valdari Confederation before. That they make alliances, steal technology, then destroy their former allies." Dr. White pulled up star charts on her computer. "If that's true, then there might be other species out there who hate the Xenorians as much as we do. Maybe we're not as alone as we thought." Admiral Collins had been thinking the same thing. Back at Luna Base, he had been working with Senator Helen Brooks to reach out to other alien governments. They were being very careful, knowing that the Xenorians had spies everywhere. But slowly, they were making contact with species that had been hurt by Xenorian betrayal. The first breakthrough came when the Korathian Empire sent a secret message to Luna Base. The Korathians had lost 2 star systems to Xenorian treachery, and their government was interested in working with humans against their common enemy. "We could have allies," Senator Brooks reported to Admiral Collins. "The Korathians hate the Xenorians even more than we do. They've been planning revenge for years, but didn't have the military strength to act alone." Meanwhile, Sam Rodriguez and his team were making their own discoveries about Xenorian weaknesses. The aliens had become dependent on stolen human technology, but they didn't really understand how it worked. They could copy human designs, but they couldn't improve them or fix them when they broke down. "Their shield systems are falling apart," Maya Patterson reported after examining a damaged Xenorian ship. "They're using our shield technology, but they don't know how to maintain it properly. Half of their ships have shields that barely work." This gave the Resistance an idea. If the Xenorians were using stolen human technology, then humans might be able to turn that technology against them. Dr. White began working on ways to exploit the weaknesses in Xenorian systems. We built backdoors into some of our technology, she explained. Security features that would let us shut down our own systems if they were ever stolen. The Xenorians don't know about these backdoors because they copied our designs without understanding them completely. Tony Grant was excited by this possibility. We could create computer viruses that would specifically target Xenorian systems. Since they're using our technology, our viruses would work perfectly against them. The Resistance began planning more ambitious operations. Instead of just gathering intelligence, they would start sabotaging Xenorian installations and stealing back human technology. Captain Morrison volunteered to lead the first major operation. We're going to hit their research facility on Titan Station, Morrison announced. Intelligence says they're storing stolen human medical technology there. We're going to take it back. The plan was dangerous but necessary. Titan Station was heavily guarded, and the Xenorians would fight hard to protect their stolen goods. But the Resistance had advantages that the aliens didn't expect. They knew exactly how their own technology worked, and they had been studying Xenorian tactics for months. Sam Rodriguez and his team would create a distraction on one side of the station while Morrison's group infiltrated the research labs. Maya Patterson would plant devices that would copy all the stolen research data, proving that the Xenorians had been stealing human inventions. Dr. White had also prepared special computer viruses that would destroy Xenorian computer systems without harming the original human technology. This would send a message to the aliens that humans were not helpless victims anymore. As the Resistance prepared for their first major strike against the Xenorians, news arrived from Admiral Collins. The Korathian Empire had agreed to a secret alliance with humanity. Other alien species were also showing interest in joining a coalition against the Xenorians. We're not alone anymore, Senator Brooks announced to the Resistance fighters. The galaxy is starting to learn the truth about Xenorian lies and theft. Soon, we'll have the allies we need to take back everything they stole from us. Captain Morrison looked at his team with determination. The Xenorians think they broke us when they betrayed us. They think humans are too weak and trusting to fight back. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The Resistance had grown from a few desperate survivors into an organized force with clear goals. They would expose Xenorian lies, steal back human technology, and build alliances with other species who had been betrayed. The silent war against the Xenorians had begun, and humanity was ready to fight for justice. General Alex Turner stood in the command center of Luna Base, studying the holographic display that showed Xenorian positions across 3 star systems. The time for hiding and gathering intelligence was over. Admiral Collins had authorized Operation Midnight Harvest, and Turner was ready to lead humanity's first major strike against their betrayers. Colonel Stone, are your teams ready? Turner asked the woman standing beside him. Colonel Rachel Stone nodded firmly. 48 Special Forces operatives, sir. We've been training for this mission for 2 months. We know those Xenorian facilities better than the aliens do. The plan was ambitious but necessary. Instead of trying to destroy Xenorian research stations, human forces would infiltrate them and steal back the technology that rightfully belonged to humanity. They would also take additional Xenorian resources as payment for the damage the aliens had caused. Captain Morrison had returned from his latest scouting mission with detailed maps of Xenorian installations. The research facility on Kepler 7 has 3 levels, he reported. The bottom level contains stolen human medical technology. The middle level has our energy weapon designs. The top level has something new, something they're keeping heavily guarded. Dr. Karen White had been analyzing intercepted Xenorian communications. They're calling it Project Genesis, she said. From what I can tell, they're using stolen human genetic research to enhance their own species. They're making themselves stronger and smarter using our discoveries. Turner felt anger rise in his chest. The Xenorians had not only stolen human technology, but were using it to make themselves superior to other species. They were creating a genetic advantage that would let them dominate the galaxy for generations. That ends now, Turner said. Stone, your teams will hit 3 facilities simultaneously. Take everything. Don't leave the Xenorians with a single piece of stolen human technology. Commander Lisa Harper, now leading the Intelligence Division, had prepared detailed files on each target. The Xenorians think they're safe because they've been using our own security systems against us. They don't know that we've been studying their modifications for months. The first target was the medical research station on Kepler-7, Colonel. Stone led the assault team personally, using stealth ships that the Xenorians couldn't detect. The human soldiers moved through the facility like ghosts, avoiding alien guards and security systems. "This is incredible," whispered Sergeant Danny Clark as he looked at the stolen medical equipment. "They have our cancer treatment technology, our surgical robots, even our genetic therapy machines. They've been using this stuff to treat their own people while letting humans die from diseases they could easily cure." Stone's team worked quickly to download all the research data and remove the most important equipment. They also planted special devices that Dr. White had designed, computer viruses that would destroy Xenorian systems without harming the original human technology. The second target was an energy weapons facility on Proxima Station. Captain Morrison led this mission, bringing along engineer Maya Patterson to help identify the most valuable stolen technology. "They've got our plasma cannon designs," Maya reported as she examined the alien weapons. "But look at this, Captain. They've been trying to improve our designs and failing. Half of these weapons are defective because they don't understand how our technology really works." Morrison smiled grimly. "Good, let's take the working ones and leave them with the broken junk." The third target was the most dangerous, a heavily guarded research center on Titan Colony, where the Xenorians were conducting their genetic enhancement experiments. Lieutenant Colonel Sam Rodriguez volunteered to lead this mission, knowing that the intelligence they could gather would be crucial for humanity's future. "The security here is incredible," Tony Grant reported as he hacked into the facility's computer systems. "They've got 3 times more guards than the other facilities. Whatever they're doing here, they really don't want anyone to find out about it." What Rodriguez found inside the facility shocked him. The Xenorians had been using stolen human genetic research to enhance their own military forces. They were creating super soldiers who were stronger, faster, and smarter than normal Xenorians. Even worse, they were planning to use this technology to create a master race that would rule over all other species. "They're not just stealing our technology," Rodriguez reported to Turner. "They're using it to build an army that could conquer the entire galaxy. Every enhancement they're making comes from human research that they stole from us." The resistance teams worked through the night, copying research data and removing equipment. They also discovered something that would change everything: detailed records of how the Xenorians had been manipulating other alien species for decades. Dr. White was amazed by what they found. "They've been doing this to everyone," she said, studying the alien records. "The Carathians, the Voldari, the Nexus Alliance, even species we've never heard of. They make alliances, steal technology, then betray their partners. It's their entire strategy for galactic domination." But the humans weren't finished. Turner had authorized them to take more than just their stolen property. They were also seizing Xenorian resources as payment for the damage the aliens had caused to human colonies. "Load everything valuable onto our ships," Stone ordered her teams. "Their computers, their weapons, their research data, everything. They owe us for 3 human worlds and 50,000 dead colonists." The human forces worked with military precision, stripping the Xenorian facilities of anything useful. They took advanced computers, experimental weapons, raw materials, and even art objects that could be sold to fund the resistance. Maya Patterson made an important discovery while examining Xenorian computer systems. "Their entire network is connected," she reported. "Every Xenorian facility, every ship, every military base uses the same central computer network. If we could get access to that network, we could shut down their entire empire." Tony Grant was excited by this possibility. "We could plant viruses in their main system that would spread to every Xenorian computer in the galaxy. We could shut down their weapons, their ships, even their life support systems. The raids were a complete success. The human teams had stolen back their own technology and taken valuable Xenorian resources as compensation. But more importantly, they had proven that humanity was not helpless against their betrayers. Commander Harper began broadcasting the truth about Xenorian crimes to other alien species. Using the captured communications and research data, she could prove that the Xenorians had been lying to the galaxy for years. "Attention all species," Harper's message began. "The Xenorian Empire has been built on lies and theft. The technology they claim to have invented was stolen from dozens of other species. The medical treatments they use come from human research. The weapons they threaten you with were designed by the species they betrayed and conquered." The message included detailed evidence of Xenorian crimes against multiple species. Other alien governments began to listen, and some started to question their relationships with the Xenorian Empire. Captain Morrison returned to Luna Base with news that would change everything. "We intercepted a Xenorian military communication," he reported. "They're planning to attack the Korathian Empire next month. They think the Korathians are getting too close to discovering the truth about their past betrayal." Turner realized that this was humanity's chance to gain a powerful ally. If we warn the Korathians about the attack, they might be willing to join our fight against the Xenorians. Dr. White had been working on new weapons designed specifically to fight Xenorian forces. "I've created computer viruses that will target their stolen human technology," she announced. "When they try to use our shield systems against us, these viruses will shut them down. When they fire weapons based on our designs, the weapons will malfunction." The silent war was escalating into open conflict. Humanity had struck the first blow against the Xenorian Empire, stealing back their technology and exposing alien lies to the galaxy, but Turner knew this was only the beginning. "They betrayed us when they thought we were weak," Turner told his commanders. "Now they're going to learn what humans can do when we're angry. We're going to take back everything they stole from us, and we're going to make them pay for every human life they cost us." The resistance had become an army, and the army was ready for war. Ambassador Nicole Davis stepped off the human shuttle onto the Korathian flagship, her heart pounding with nervous excitement. This was the most important diplomatic mission in human history. The Korathians had agreed to meet with human representatives, and Nicole knew that this alliance could change everything in the war against the Xenorians. The Korathian leader, High Commander Vex Thorian, was waiting in the ship's main conference room. He was tall and covered in blue-gray scales with intelligent golden eyes that studied Nicole carefully. Behind him stood several other Korathian officials, all wearing the formal robes of their empire. "Ambassador Davis," Thorian said in perfect human English, "we have been waiting for this meeting for many months. Your people have proven that they are not as weak as the Xenorians claimed." Nicole bowed respectfully. "High Commander, humanity seeks justice for the crimes committed against us. We believe that our species have much in common, having both suffered from Xenorian betrayal." Thorian's expression grew dark. "The Xenorians stole 2 of our star systems 5 years ago. They promised to help us defend against pirates, then turned their weapons on our colonies. Thousands of our people died in their treachery." The meeting continued for hours as both sides shared intelligence about Xenorian crimes. Nicole presented the evidence that Captain Morrison's teams had gathered, showing how the aliens had been systematically stealing technology from multiple species. "This is remarkable," said Korathian Science Minister Kalavaran as she examined the human data. "The Xenorians claimed that they had invented fusion power technology 3 years ago, but these records show they stole it from your people." Nicole nodded. "They've been lying to the entire galaxy. Every major innovation they've announced in the past decade was stolen from someone else. They're not the brilliant scientists they pretend to be." Meanwhile, Captain Morrison was leading a joint human-Korathian task force on a mission to disrupt Xenorian supply lines. The aliens had been using captured human agricultural technology to produce food for their expanding empire, while human colonies faced shortages. Target confirmed, Morrison reported as his ships approached a Xenorian cargo convoy. 12 transport ships carrying food stolen from human farms. They're headed for the Xenorian home system. The joint attack was swift and precise. Human and Korathian ships worked together perfectly, using their combined knowledge of Xenorian weaknesses to disable the enemy vessels without destroying the stolen cargo. "This is incredible," said Korathian Captain Zara Kelvin as she examined the captured ships. "They have enough food here to feed 1,000,000 people. Food that was grown on human worlds by human farmers." Morrison felt sick as he looked at the cargo. Manifests. According to these records, the Xenorians have been stealing food from human colonies for 2 years. They've been letting our people go hungry while they fed their own population with our crops. The success of the joint mission encouraged other alien species to approach the human Korathian alliance. The Valdari Confederation sent a secret messenger to Luna Base, offering to share intelligence about Xenorian military positions. General Turner met with the Valdari representative, a small alien with silver skin and large black eyes. "We lost our entire research fleet to Xenorian treachery," the alien explained. "They promised to help us explore new star systems, then stole our ships and claimed our discoveries as their own." Dr. Karen White was amazed by the Valdari information. "They have star charts showing Xenorian positions across half the galaxy," she reported to Turner. "With this intelligence, we can plan attacks that the Xenorians will never see coming." The alliance continued to grow as more species joined the fight against the Xenorians. The Nexus Alliance provided advanced stealth technology that allowed human ships to move undetected through Xenorian space. The Thermal Collective shared their knowledge of Xenorian computer systems, helping human hackers like Tony Grant plant viruses in alien networks. Colonel Stone led increasingly bold operations against Xenorian installations. Her teams were no longer just stealing back human technology. They were seizing Xenorian resources as payment for decades of theft and betrayal. "We hit their weapons factory on Sigma Station last night," Stone reported to Turner. "Captured enough advanced weapons to equip 3 human battle fleets. Also found records showing that they've been selling human medical technology to other species while claiming they invented it." The evidence of Xenorian crimes continued to mount. Maya Patterson discovered that the aliens had been using human engineering techniques to build their newest warships. Tony Grant found communications, proving that Xenorian leaders had been laughing about their betrayal of humanity for months. "They call us stupid animals," Grant reported angrily. "They think we're too trusting and naive to be a threat to their empire. They're about to learn how wrong they are." Commander Harper had been working with the new allies to spread the truth about Xenorian crimes throughout the galaxy. Using captured alien communication networks, she broadcast evidence of theft and betrayal to dozens of species. "The response has been incredible," Harper told Admiral Collins. 17 different species have broken their trade agreements with the Xenorians. 6 alien governments have expelled Xenorian ambassadors. The Xenorian Empire is losing allies faster than they can replace them. But the most important breakthrough came when Dr. White made a discovery that would change the entire war. While studying captured Xenorian technology, she found something that shocked her. "Their entire technological base is built on stolen innovations," she announced to the human leadership. "They haven't invented anything truly original in over 50 years. Every weapon, every ship, every computer system is based on technology they stole from other species." Turner understood the implications immediately. "If their technology is all stolen, then we can turn it against them. We know our own systems better than they do." The Alliance began planning a massive coordinated strike against Xenorian positions. Human forces would target installations using stolen human technology, while Korathian ships would attack facilities built with their stolen designs. The Valdari would hit Xenorian research stations, and the Nexus Alliance would sabotage communication. Networks. Captain Morrison was chosen to lead the human portion of the attack. "We're going to hit 15 Xenorian installations simultaneously," he explained to his commanders. "Each attack will be designed to exploit weaknesses in their stolen technology." The plan was more than military. It was also psychological warfare designed to show the Xenorians that their victims were no longer helpless. Every species they had betrayed was now working together against them. Nicole Davis had been busy negotiating with even more potential allies. The Quantum Collective had agreed to provide advanced shield technology, while the Star Federation offered to share their intelligence networks. "We're not just building a military alliance," Davis reported to Admiral Collins. "We're creating a new galactic order based on cooperation instead of betrayal. Every species that joins us makes the Xenorians weaker." The evidence continued to mount against the Xenorian Empire. Human intelligence teams discovered that the aliens had been manipulating galactic trade routes for decades, ensuring that their own worlds received the best resources while their victims struggled with shortages. "They've been playing a long game," Turner realized. The betrayal of humanity wasn't random. It was part of a plan to weaken all other species until the Xenorians could rule the galaxy unopposed. Colonel Stone returned from her latest mission with news that would accelerate their plans. "We captured a Xenorian admiral," she reported. "He had complete battle plans for attacks on Korathian and Valdari worlds. They're planning to destroy our new allies before we can organize effective resistance." Turner knew that time was running out. "We need to strike first," he decided. "The Xenorians think they can pick off our allies one by one. They're about to discover that we're stronger together than they ever imagined." The alliance had grown from a desperate human resistance into a galactic coalition of betrayed species seeking justice. The Xenorians had created their own enemies through decades of theft and treachery. Now those enemies were united and ready to take back everything that had been stolen from them. Admiral Collins stood on the bridge of the U's Liberation, watching the largest fleet in human history move toward the Xenorian home system. Around his flagship, hundreds of human ships flew in perfect formation alongside vessels from 12 different alien species. The day of reckoning had finally arrived. "All ships report ready for battle," Captain Morrison announced from his position at the tactical station. He had been promoted to fleet captain for this final assault, commanding the human strike force that would lead the attack. The coalition fleet was massive and impressive. Korathian battleships with their distinctive blue hulls flew beside sleek Valdari cruisers. Nexus Alliance stealth ships moved like shadows between the larger vessels, while thermal collective support ships provided electronic warfare capabilities. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Xenorian leadership," Communications Officer Amy Foster reported. "They want to negotiate," Collins smiled coldly. "Put them on screen." The image of Prime Minister Zek Valorian appeared on the main display. The Xenorian leader looked nervous and desperate, a far cry from the confident alien who had once posed as humanity's friend. "Admiral Collins," Valorian said, trying to sound calm, "this attack is unnecessary. We can resolve our differences through peaceful negotiation." "The time for negotiation ended when you betrayed us," Collins replied firmly. "You stole our technology, murdered our people, and lied to the galaxy about your crimes. Today you face justice." General Turner, commanding the ground assault forces, listened to the exchange from his command ship. His troops were ready to seize every Xenorian facility and secure all stolen technology. There would be no escape for the aliens this time. "They're scrambling their defense fleet," Morrison reported. 67 ships moving to intercept us. They're using human shield technology and Korathian weapon designs. Maya Patterson, now chief engineer for the Coalition fleet, activated the secret weapons that Dr. White had prepared. "Initiating computer virus deployment," she announced. "All stolen technology is about to turn against them." The battle began as the Xenorian defense fleet opened fire on the Coalition forces, but something went wrong with their weapons immediately. Xenorian ships that tried to use stolen human shield technology found their shields failing. Weapons based on captured alien designs began malfunctioning and shutting down. "Their entire fleet is in chaos," Morrison observed with satisfaction. "The viruses are working perfectly. Every piece of stolen technology is failing at once." Colonel Stone led the first wave of assault troops toward the Xenorian capital planet. Her soldiers had trained for months to capture specific targets, research facilities, government buildings, and military command centers. "Remember," Stone told her troops over the radio, "we're not here to destroy everything. We're here to take back what belongs to us and seize compensation for their crimes." The ground assault was swift and efficient. Human and alien troops worked together to overwhelm Xenorian defenses that had been weakened by technological failures. The aliens had become so dependent on stolen technology that they couldn't fight effectively when their systems failed. Dr. White monitored the virus attacks from the flagship. "The Xenorian computer network is completely compromised," she reported. "Their ships can't communicate with each other. Their weapons are offline, and their life support systems are failing." Prime Minister Valorian appeared on screen again, this time looking panicked. "Admiral Collins, you must stop this attack. We surrender. We'll return everything we took from you." Collins studied the alien leader with contempt. "It's too late for surrender. You had years to return what you stole. You chose to build an empire on theft and betrayal instead." Tony Grant had been working to shut down Xenorian propaganda networks. "Admiral, I've taken control of their communication systems," he reported. "The entire galaxy is watching this battle. Everyone can see that the mighty Xenorian Empire was built on lies. The Xenorian defense collapsed completely as more of their stolen technology failed. Ships that had been powerful and threatening just hours before were now drifting helplessly in space. Ground forces found themselves facing coalition troops who knew exactly how to exploit the weaknesses in Xenorian equipment. Captain Morrison led a boarding party onto the Xenorian flagship. The alien crew offered no resistance, their weapons and shields having failed when the human viruses infected their systems. "Admiral Kex Thorne," Morrison said to the captured Xenorian fleet commander, "you're under arrest for crimes against humanity and numerous other species. Your empire's reign of theft and betrayal is over. The systematic seizure of Xenorian assets began immediately. Coalition forces secured research facilities containing decades of stolen technology. They captured warehouses full of art and cultural artifacts taken from conquered worlds. They seized factories that had been producing weapons using stolen designs. Senator Helen Brooks, now leading the diplomatic corps for the coalition, presented the Xenorian government with the final terms. "You will surrender all stolen technology and property to their rightful owners," she announced. "You will pay reparations to every species you betrayed. You will be confined to your home system under coalition supervision." The evidence of Xenorian crimes was overwhelming. Coalition investigators found detailed records of theft going back 50 years. They discovered plans to betray and conquer dozens of additional species. They found communications where Xenorian leaders laughed about the suffering they had caused. "The scope of their crimes is incredible," Ambassador Nicole Davis reported to the coalition leadership. "They weren't just stealing technology. They were systematically destroying other civilizations to build their own empire." The Xenorian military command structure collapsed as more leaders were captured. Admiral Kex Thorne, faced with evidence of his own war crimes, agreed to cooperate with coalition investigators. "We were following orders," Thorne said weakly. "The government told us that other species were inferior and deserved to be conquered." Morrison felt no sympathy for the captured admiral. "You participated in genocide and theft on a galactic scale. Following orders is not an excuse for war crimes. The coalition forces work systematically to dismantle the Xenorian Empire. Human teams reclaimed their stolen medical technology and agricultural systems. Korathian forces recovered their lost star charts and colonization equipment. The Valdari took back their exploration vessels and research data. Dr. White made an amazing discovery in the Xenorian Central Archives. "They kept detailed records of everything they stole," she reported. "We can return every piece of technology to its rightful owners. We can rebuild everything they destroyed." The final phase of the operation involved establishing the new galactic order. The coalition leaders met on the captured Xenorian capital world to create the Galactic Justice Council. an organization dedicated to preventing future betrayals and promoting genuine cooperation between species. Admiral Collins was chosen as the first chairman of the council. "We've learned that trust must be earned through actions, not words," he said in his inaugural address. "This council will ensure that no species ever again suffers the kind of betrayal that brought us together." The Xenorians were reduced to a single system under strict supervision. Their government was dissolved and replaced with a council of representatives from the species they had wronged. They would spend generations working to repay the damage they had caused. Captain Morrison, now promoted to admiral, oversaw the final distribution of recovered assets. Human colonies received advanced technologies and resources that would help them rebuild and prosper. The stolen art and cultural artifacts were returned to their creators. "Justice has been served," Morrison reflected as he watched the last Xenorian military ships being escorted to their home system. They thought they could build an empire on betrayal and theft. Instead, they created the alliance that destroyed them. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about the consequences of betrayal. The species that had once been victims were now leaders of a new order based on mutual respect and genuine cooperation. The Xenorian Empire was gone, but the coalition they had unwittingly created would ensure peace and justice for generations to come. Admiral Collins stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at the stars that now belonged to a free and united galaxy. "They betrayed us in war," he said, quietly, "so we seized everything they had, and we built something better from the ashes of their empire."